For more than 3 decades, I have loved Ys. It was one of the first adventure games that really sucked me in as a kid, and it continues to be a reliable franchise known for churning out must-play sequels. But if I'm being honest, my admiration for the series was tested back in 1991, when I played through Ys 3 Wanderers from Ys, a disappointing follow-up that changes just about everything that I loved about the original. Now, 30 years later, I want to give that much-maligned sequel a second chance. And since we've already broken down the stories for both Ys Book 1 and 2, what better time is there to dive into the weird third installment? So turn back now if you don't want to know what happens next, because today we're going to spoil the story and ending for Ys 3 Wanderers from Ys on the TurboGrafx-CD. This is Game Over, the early years. One of the things that I loved about Ys Book 1 and 2 on the TurboGrafx was the deep, booming voice of the narrator setting the stage for Adol's epic adventure to discover the secrets of the ancient floating kingdom. It was the perfect way to not only welcome the player to a brand new fantasy world, but also introduce gamers to the power of CD technology. Unfortunately, Ys 3 Wanderers from Ys wasn't able to get the same voice actor, so this is how the much-anticipated sequel starts. Ooh.
Think back to your worst nightmare. The feeling of dark isolation and helplessness. The feeling that an evil force controlled your destiny. Perhaps we can compare these emotions with the terror that enclosed the people of Kenai. Their peace had been shattered by the domination of an evil demon named Demonicus. His long arms of decimation swept over the lands and burned all life in an inferno of slaughter and destruction. Yet even the worst nightmares offer some hope for survival. Kenai's fortunes lay in this stunning warrior of indomitable strength. His bravery was renowned throughout the land, as he had once saved an entire world from similar destruction. But now his challenge was greater than ever before. The insurmountable ferocity of Demonicus was frightening even to our courageous hero. But a real man never shows his fear. And Adol was, in fact, a most gallant soul. He battled Demonicus with equal intensity in this horrific struggle to the death. The skies had darkened, and the earth shook as Demonicus applied his brutal force and displayed his savage rage. There were to be no prisoners in this holy war of good over evil. Demonicus unleashed his awesome size and strength against our hero, but Adol's cunning wit allowed him to avoid and eclipse all of the alien's fatal blows. There was more than just a miracle behind this savior of tormented lands. Who could fight such courageous battles and manage to pull victory from such impossible odds? Who was this strange raider of evil foes? His legend and the legend of this land are about to be retold. The adventure is in the spirit of the warrior, and the warrior is you. Go now, Adol, and seek out these dark forces that oppress and terrorize the innocent lives of Kenai.
3 years have passed since Adol rescued the land of Ys from the Dark One, and yet he's still out there looking for his next adventure. As luck would have it, he's heard rumors of dark and eerie goons infiltrating Kenai, which also happens to be where his traveling companion Dogi grew up as a child. So the two set out for Kenai in hopes of finding a new adventure and, if there's time, reconnecting with a few friends. As it turns out, the rumors were true. The local guard describes violent monsters attacking the townspeople and destroying the annual harvest. The people of Kenai are afraid to even leave their houses, and can you blame them? I mean, almost immediately after Adol shows up, there's already an emergency that involves a badly injured man who tells everybody that Mayor Grady is stuck in a mine after being ambushed by a bunch of monsters. This is exactly why Adol came to Kenai, so he springs into action and mounts a rescue mission. It's while searching through the mines when he discovers a mysterious figure who beats up one of the Kenai townspeople. The good news is that he has a key and knows exactly where the mayor is being held. Unfortunately, the bad news is that we're gonna have to beat a fast-moving boss to save Grady. The even worse news is that the mysterious brawler from earlier beats Adol to the mayor. The two men are arguing about a great power that could be unleashed, with Grady pleading with the blonde-haired man not to continue any further. Adol is able to save the day, but not before the man threatens to kill our hero if he ever gets in the way ever again. Yeah, that sucks, but at least Mayor Grady is safe, even if his leg is broken. Back in Kenai, everybody's relieved to hear about the good news. But there's no time to rest, because Dogi has a big request for Adol. It seems that his friend Elena is worried about her brother, Chester. You see, he's been working for King Maguire in the Alcano ruins, and she fears the worst. To make things even more dire, a local priest named Pierre recently went missing in the same ruins, which Dogi finds awfully suspicious. Still on an adrenaline high from saving Mayor Grady, Adol agrees to investigate Alcano ruins and see if he can find either Pierre or Chester. Luckily, it doesn't take too long to find Elena's brother, who is just with another man in the ruins. They're just kind of standing there talking to each other about collecting statues. But hang on, wait a second. Isn't that the blonde-haired guy from earlier who was arguing with Mayor Grady? Before Adol even has a chance to ponder that question, he's discovered by the guards and hauled off to the lava pit. Our hero pleads with Chester and tries to explain that his sister sent him. True to his word, Chester kicks Adol down the pit and to his death. But come on, you didn't think that was gonna be enough to kill the champion of East, did ya? Of course not. Sure, he's badly hurt and definitely in need of healing herbs. But don't worry, he's gonna live to fight another day. And that is exactly what he does. He hacks and slashes his way through the volcano until he finds stairs that conveniently lead him to a very worried Elena. But before they can properly catch up, the two are forced to hide in this door when Chester has another one of his hush-hush meetings. This time around, he's talking about locking up Pierre. That way he'll no longer be able to get in the way of Chester's master plan. Ah, so evil. Now, on the other side of the door, Elena convinces Adol to find the statue before Chester does. Thankfully, there's a secret passageway that should take our hero straight to it. But wouldn't you know it, the passage is also risky. Why? Because it sends Adol straight into a fight with a fire-breathing dragon. Okay, to be fair, Elena did try to warn us that there was a flying monster that lived on the other side of the passage, so we really only have ourselves to blame. Once Adol returns from slaying the dragon, he's confronted by a very surprised Chester. But just before the two men can get into a sword fight, Elena rushes in and explains the whole thing. It's here where Chester reveals that he's trying to collect the statues in order to get his revenge for that one fateful day. Revenge? Fateful day? What the hell's he talking about? I want you to keep those questions in mind, because we're definitely going to be getting back to that in a moment. Alright, back in Kenai, Dogi tells Adol that he's going to climb the nearby mountain to speak to his old spiritual master. We also learn that Mayor Grady's house was broken into, perhaps in hopes of finding that statue that Adol snagged in the mines. Hey, speaking of the statues, the mayor also thinks he knows where the third statue is located. Adol's job is to meet up with Grady's men in the cave. You see, as it turns out, they've found a sealed chest that doesn't seem to have a lock. If that's the case, then how are you supposed to open this thing? Well, that turned out to be easy for Adol, because all he really needed to do was get close to the chest with one of those statues. There's just one small problem. The tablet they find in the chest is supposedly cursed. This is where we learn that a devil named Demonicus once ruled over the land until a brave soldier used the statues to seal him away from the world. But now he's back, and it sounds like Adol is going to have to collect those statues if he wants to be the hero that Kanai once again needs. The issue Adol is facing right now is that he's not the only one after these statues. It seems that King Maguire is also searching and is willing to try just about anything to get his way. He's even willing to give Mayor Grady a kingdom of his own, as Adol discovers when he walks in with the two men arguing. Grady rejects the offer and instead sends our hero up to a hermit that lives on a nearby mountain. Wait, isn't that where Dogi was going? Surprising absolutely nobody, the answer to that question is yes. That's exactly where he was going. Dogi seemed surprised to see Adol show up, but the old hermit knew that it was fate. Lucky for us, Dogi's spiritual master knows exactly where the fourth and final statue is. But you're not gonna like what he has to say. It seems that our hero's gonna have to travel through the snowy mountains and fight yet another dragon. At least this one's in a cave. Believe it or not, what the old man failed to predict was that Chester would be hot on Adol's heels, hoping to just go in there and steal away those statues from our hero. And that is when tragedy strikes. No, Chester doesn't get those statues, but rather the entrance caves in, trapping the two men forever. Well, now that all hope is lost, Chester finally comes clean about his master plan. You see, he reveals that a year ago, King Maguire murdered his entire village. After narrowly escaping with his sister Elena, Chester decided to get in close with the king in hopes of one day taking his revenge. It's here where he learned about Maguire's evil plan, so he's doing everything in his power to make sure that... Oh, hey, look at that! Dogi cleared the path to escape. Now that's why you always want to have a traveling companion. Back in Kanai, our heroes discover that the town has been attacked by King Maguire, who has made good on his threats to kidnap everybody. Fearing for his people, Mayor Grady now wants Adol to travel to Castle Valestein to give the king the 4 statues. It's on the way to completing this task that our hero runs into Elena, who is hoping to find her brother and plead with him to spare the innocent townspeople. A confident Adol tells her to stay back, because he's gonna take care of everything. As it turns out, Elena does not stay back. In fact, she follows the king's right-hand man Merlin into the castle to track down Adol. But instead of getting into a fight, the man opens up the door and shows the way to the king's throne room. Now, Adol worries that this might be a trap, but what choice does he have? He's ready to fight the shielded monster on the outside walkway and climb the Castlevania-inspired clock tower if that means that he's going to get one step closer to stopping King Maguire. But he was right to be leery, because this was indeed a trap. Merlin reveals that he's actually a demonic monster ready to kill our hero. Obviously, that doesn't happen. After the epic fight, Adol stumbles on King Maguire, who immediately surrenders for his crimes. Let me tell you, the king throws Merlin completely under the bus and then rolls over him a couple of times, explaining that it was all that other guy's idea, and he had no idea that the cohort was trying to resurrect Demonicus. Look, guys, there will be plenty of time to deal with King Maguire properly later, but first, Adol needs to sail the choppy waters to get to that final battle. Now, you would think that climbing a tower full of stairs would be easy, but hey, look at this. Here comes Chester to complicate things. What the hell is he doing here? Well, it turns out that Elena has been captured by Demonicus, and Chester wants to finally do the right thing. This does not go well. After the bad guy captures both siblings, Adol gets on that elevator and finally gets to doing what he does best: kicking demon ass. We hack and slash until Demonicus is no more. And this is what happens next.
My brother went to the center of the land of Demonicus. He is going to destroy all of it. No, Adol, don't go! My brother says it's his fault, so he should be the one to deal with Demonicus. Adol, please! Of course I care! We lived together for more than 17 years. I believe in my brother. I have faith. He will return. There is one thing I have to tell you. There is a legend in these parts that a long time ago, a brave young man locked Demonicus away. The village that my brother and I were born in was founded by the descendants of this brave man. King McGuire feared that his plans to bring back Demonicus would be in danger as long as these descendants lived. That is why he destroyed our village. My brother is the only one left who knows the secret that will crush the world of Demonicus. If Demonicus is to be put away for good, my brother must go. It's all right, Adol, as long as you understand. Oh, Adol.
Should we really leave so soon? Yes, it is best. Adol, I have some final things to do before we leave. Why don't you go on ahead?
Adol, must you really leave us? What is it that I may do for you, my boy? You may ask anything. Oh-ho! That's an easy promise. There will be a rich and beautiful city here for your return.
What are you doing with all that luggage? Are you going on a trip? You are really leaving, Adol. I wish you could stay. Where is Dogi? Aren't you leaving together?
Elena, are you sure? You'll never meet another fellow like Adol. Are you just going to let him go? If I don't leave now, I won't be able to catch up with Adol. Well, Elena, this is goodbye.
What is there for you out there? You should stay here with us.
forgotten something? Adel, are you sure you shouldn't say goodbye to Elena? She's calling you. What are you going to do?
Oh, Adol, how can I ever thank you? I'll never forget what you've done. Your bravery, your kindness, your inspiration. Someday, Adol, someday, I know that I'll be able to see you again. Farewell, Adol.
Okay, so that's a lot. Not necessarily when it comes to twists and turns, but there was definitely a lot of traveling to and from Kenai. compared to the stories found in the first two games, this one feels small and straightforward. Perhaps that's because Wanderers from Ys didn't originally start out as an Ys game. Or maybe the team ran out of good ideas, I don't know. Either way, the result is definitely a step down from what we saw in both Book 1 and 2. That said, I do like these endings. I like that we get to spend more time with the townspeople Adol rescued, which is also followed by a pretty cool 16-bit cinema that sets up the next adventure. There's even a bit at the end that reads like an inspirational poem. Look, even if I'm a little let down by the side-scrolling action and the simplistic story, I'm still fully satisfied with this lengthy ending. It's just a shame that Adol never came back for Elena. Talk about a missed connection. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Game Over, The Early Years. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new episodes almost every week. In fact, we have more than 150 of these Game Over episodes in the playlist, so definitely check that out. Now, here's the question I have for you. What is the first adventure game that you truly fell in love with? I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked Zelda and other adventure games, but I absolutely loved Ys Book 1 and 2. What adventure game did that for you? Let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back tomorrow with a review of Green Phoenix, followed on Friday with a review of Uoni. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.